What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Marriage and Medicine. So as you guys likely already know, we have grown our family by one more. It's been about 8 months now since that transition. So we just wanted to talk a little bit about that transition going from 1 to 2 kids and kind of how that's been for us.
So I feel like the transition from 1 to 2 was just like a little bit harder than I was expecting it to be. Like, I've heard people say that transition is hard, but I don't think I knew how hard it would be until we got into it. So like, first child I thought was hard, which it is to a degree because like it's just new, you've never done it before. And
no idea what you're doing.
And the exhaustion for having a child is hard in itself, and so I think that's what makes having one child hard. But when you have 2, it's like a whole new level is unlocked.
Yeah, there is no napping. There's none of that.
Yeah, I feel like now I'm like, I thought one child was hard. Like, that's nothing compared to this. So yeah. I think they're both hard in their own rights, but definitely having 2, I think, just makes life in general a little bit harder because it's just like a constant like, okay, I fed this one, she's good. Oh, but now this one's crying. Now it's time for her to eat and get changed. And then that one's good, and I finally get her down, but then this one wants to play. And then you go and play with that one for a little bit, but then this one woke back up again. And it's just like, you're always like back and forth, or at least I am because I'm home all day with them. And so it's just like a constant, I feel like I'm like ping pong and I'm the ball in between them two, like back and forth. So the first, like, I want to say probably the first 4 months or so, 4 or 5, I feel like we're the hardest because the first few months, like, you're still trying to heal, but then you're also trying to learn like a new routine and a new balance of 2 kids and trying to figure that out. And it was hard for me because I felt bad, like, sorry. I felt bad the first, like, 2 months or so because, like, when you have a newborn, of course, it takes a lot out of you, especially breastfeeding. And, you know, they don't nap that long because they're new and they're still trying to figure out the world and everything. And so I felt bad for Naya because my pregnancy was rough. So I feel like for most of my pregnancy, I couldn't do anything with her then either. And so it was just like, I guess I was looking forward to, like, once I have Ariana, at least I won't feel bad anymore. So, like, I'll be able to try to start doing things with her again. And so I feel bad, like, those first 2-3 months, she would be like, can you play with me? And I'm like, I can't because I have to feed your sister. Oh, I can't because now I have to change her. I can't because now I have to pump or whatever. That was hard. Still just feeling like I couldn't really give her any time. And I mean, thankfully I feel like overall handled it pretty well. She wasn't mean to her sister. She wasn't resentful. She wasn't like really throwing temper tantrums or anything like that. She just kind of like, okay,
more so than anything else,
and just kind of kept it moving. But I mean, I know going forward, like, life isn't going to be the same how it was with just her, but I just felt bad, like, I can't really do anything with her at all. So the first 2 months was hard from that standpoint as far as just trying to balance both of them and like finding time for Naya. And then after that, I would say it was hard because it was like we were starting to get better with like her sleep and stuff. And then of course the 4-month regression comes and she's not sleeping like at all. Yeah. Like, she's just constantly waking up again. And then so you're like getting frustrated because it's like she keeps waking up and then it's like you finally get her put down to go to sleep and then Naya would wake up for the day and you're like, oh my gosh, like, I was up all night with this one, which you did that as a newborn, but like I expected it as a newborn. And I think I forgot at the 4-month mark that they go through that again. And so when it happened, I'm just like...
It's also different because when it's just one, like when that one goes back and take a nap or whatever, you can go and take a nap yourself or whatever.
Yeah.
But when you got another one that's there and it's like, well, I'm ready. I'm not taking any naps. Like you can't do anything like that. So you're stuck up.
Yeah. So those 4 to 5 months, that time period was just a lot of like transition and just trying to learn like what to do and trying to establish a routine. And then now Ariana is 8 months old, so now she's sleeping through the night. She's in her own room.
She got the boot. Got the boot. Had to go.
Yeah, she like has her routine down and everything. I feel like we have a good routine down for both of them now, and so now things have gotten a lot easier. I won't say that it's like easy per se having two kids still, because there's still moments where it's hard, and a lot of my days are still like back and forth constantly, like having to do something like take Naya to school. Then you come home, you know, try to get stuff done around the house while you have one child that can't tear stuff back up after you did it. And then you get all that stuff done, try to eat, and then it's like, oh, time to go pick Naya up. Go get her, come home, feed her, get her, you know, ready, whatever. It's just always like a lot of movement. Like you thought one child, I really can't sit down and do anything, but when you have two or more, it's like, no, you really cannot sit down and do anything until they go to bed. So now it's kind of, because Naya does quiet time, I'm trying to get Ariana to also nap while Naya does quiet time so I can have like a little bit of a break in the day. But we'll see how that goes. It's not going that well right now. So right now it's just kind of like at nighttime when they both go to sleep. They go to sleep like within an hour of each other. Well, I say sleep.
In the bed.
Naya is not asleep. She's in her
bed,
room, but she's not asleep.
Reading a book in the dark or something.
Yeah.
She's always doing something.
So once they both go to their rooms at night, usually we have, that's like the time where both of us can have time alone, or if TJ's working, like I could just have time alone to myself before I go to sleep. Yeah. So that's been nice.
Yeah. So from my experience, the transition was not quite as difficult. Main reason is for me, again, I got to go to work in a sense. So I got a break away from the kids a lot of times. And so it wasn't as hard from that standpoint because I wasn't always around them necessarily. And so made it a little bit easier on my end. So when I would get off work, of course, you kind of listen to that whole part. Yeah, like feel like I'm not doing anything. Trust me, your boy was doing all the things. I would come home from work, go shower, and pretty much go into straight daddy mode. So basically, we would kind of tag team in a sense. I would try to give her some time alone at some point in the day when I would get home, taking both of them to do whatever, even if it's just letting her go shower because she didn't shower for the day, or whatever that may be, whether or not she needed to eat, or whatever it is. I would come home and make sure that she had some time to herself to do whatever it is she wanted to do. And then from there, a lot of it was really a lot of tag teaming. So like one-on-one, we would kind of pick one and go with it. So some days I would take Naya and I would just go play with her, or just do whatever with her. Some days I would take Ariana and again just be there, be the one caring for her. There wasn't much to do.
I was gonna say, honestly, she's just like,
I didn't really have to do a lot when it came to when I was with Ariana. Just make sure she didn't, roll off and hit her head or nothing crazy.
I think a lot of what you did for Naya probably helped her not be like resentful towards Ariana, because if I couldn't do it and you couldn't do it, then I think she would have been like really upset. But because at least you were able to still be involved with her and do a lot, like it didn't really change for her with you. Yeah. So she was like, "Oh, I'm fine." Yeah. But if both of us were not doing it, and it's like, "Oh, well, we have to do whatever with your sister," she'd be like, "You know what? Fuck this little girl."
Basically. And Naya, of course, is a true daddy's girl. And so, I mean, having that time with her was very important for sure. I think, again, like Jeb said, I think that would have been a big issue if I was not available to play with her and kind of keep some of the same routine in a sense. Like, that's kind of what I would do when I was, like, before Ariana came. I would still come home from work and I would take Naya and do whatever, whether it's playing in a room or whatever it was. So being able to continue that, I think, was very helpful. The transition time-wise is a little bit different. Main reason is, again, it's more time invested. You don't have as much free time to yourself, which, I mean, that's kind of expected in a sense, because there's always going to be a kid that you're caring for at that moment, so you're not going to be able to be by yourself, basically. And so it's been very important that we pick times in the week where we can have our alone time, which for Jasmine is a little bit easier because, I mean, she has the kids, but when I'm at work, if the kids are asleep, she has, 3-4 hours, whatever it is, to where she can do whatever it is she wants to do at home. At least can't really go anywhere, but you can at least be by yourself at home. For me, it's a little bit different because again, we just have to plan it out. Ultimately, like for me, I like to play video games still. I like to go to the shooting range. I like to go work out, all those kind of things. And so it's been very good for us starting kind of recently. We started basically every Sunday, we just map out our week. And so that's been very helpful in terms of being able to find time to do the things that we still love while also being able to balance everything else.
Yeah, I feel like life is going forward. I mean, it might pause, or I should say slow down a little bit once Ariana gets to Naya's age now. But life right now for like the next few little bit of years is like really busy. Like when we look at our schedule for the week and like the day, it's like, okay, who's taking Naya to school, who's picking her up, then it's like, what time do you want to do your workout, what time am I going to do my workout? Oh, I have this appointment this day, I have this that day, like
got this meeting this day.
Meeting, your shift is this time, this is that. So it's like when you look at our days, it's like, we have like a lot going on throughout the day. And then you of course factor in like just stuff with them. So it's like, I don't really have time nowadays to like, as much like just get on FaceTime and, talk for 2-3 hours like I used to when I only had one kid that was 3 years old. Like now I have a baby. It's kind of hard to, for both of them to just sit there or whatever while I do that. And so, life is like a lot more busy now, I've noticed. Like, not in a bad way, but just like, it's just busy. Like, I don't know. If you have 3 kids or more, like, I don't know how y'all do it. Y'all can let me know in the comments if having 3 kids, like going from 2 to 3 is harder than 1 to 2. I've heard 1 to 2 is the hardest.
Yeah, I hear 2 to 3 is kind of like the same in a sense.
Yeah, but I've seen, the people that I've seen that have 3 kids have said like, oh my gosh, 2 to 3 was a lot harder than 1 to 2. So I'm like, I don't know. Y'all can let me know what you think on that. But I'm just like, I could not imagine life with 3 kids.
I mean, I feel like it is easier if you have, like, for example, if we had a kid right now, like, yes, having an 8-month-old, I mean, clearly that would not be the case, but having a kid, yes, under 1
and a half,
whatever, and then having a newborn and having a 4 or 5-year-old at that time, yes, that's hard. I feel like if they were, like, if the newer one was maybe Naya's age and then Naya was a little bit older, like, maybe then it would be a little bit easier. But
like 5, 3, and a newborn.
Yeah.
Or whatever she would be. 5, 1. That wouldn't work.
No.
7,
3,
and a newborn.
Yeah.
I still feel like that's hard though because you still have a toddler and a newborn. Like what we had now when Ariana was born was a toddler and a newborn.
But then
at that point you just add in like, I don't even know what they're called at that age, a school age child. A toddler and a newborn. That's a lot.
Yeah. So
then the question is like, are you going to have 3 kids?
Oh yeah.
Or not?
We get that a lot,
we
get that all the time. Man,
I get that the most.
Well, yeah. So I was like, oh, you gonna try to get that boy? You gonna try for a boy? I'm like, come on now. I don't need a boy. Like, sure, it would have been cool if we had a boy. Like, cause just having one of each, but that's not anything that's needed. Again, happy where we are right now. Things are finally, again, getting a little bit easier. So, I mean, at this point, I'm comfortable where we're at, but who knows?
Yeah, no. It's not no, who knows?
Who knows what happens?
No.
God may have other plans. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't, like, every time I've had a child, like when I had Naya, I knew, even when she was a newborn, like, I'm going to have another child. I just knew, like, I wanted another one. Having Ariana, I was like, I don't know if I want to. It's like the third was just like, I don't know. And now I'm just kind of like, no.
Yeah.
So I feel like I kind of know now, like, I don't think I want to do 3. I don't think I want to go through that whole process again. It's just, I don't know. That's a lot. Like before, I was always in my mind like, oh, it'd be great to have a girl and a boy, like however that happens, whether it's 2 girls and a boy, 2 boys and a girl, whatever. I always was just like, I want to have both just to see what both is like. But now I'm like, bump the boy. I don't care. Like, I'm content with where I'm at. Like, yes, of course, it still would have been nice to have had a boy and, you know, all of that stuff. But I feel like before I had a second child, I was so, like, fixated on that. And it was like thinking of like all the things I would miss out on if I didn't have a boy, or like things you might miss out on, like, oh, I won't have a mother-son dance, and I don't know, just stupid stuff. And so now I'm just like, you know what, all that stuff doesn't really matter as much as it used to. So I'm kind of just like, I think as of now, we have, well, of course, as the current moment, we have said no. It can change, sure. For me, I'm like 95% closed, so I don't think that's going to change unless it's like, you know, divine intervention of some sort. But I feel like I'm content now going forward. Like, I know for sure I would be fine with just having two. Because I think about, like, you know, once they get to 18 or older, like, we'll have just be turning 50 at that point. And so it's like they'll be going off to college and stuff, and like we're at that middle part of our lives where it's like you're still young at 50. Like, that's the perfect time to start traveling and stuff. Like, I don't want to be 67 years old and I still got a child at home I'm trying to raise. So I'm like, you know, early part of my life, have kids and raise them and all that stuff, and then the latter part of my life is like travel and enjoy, and it just be us. Like, yes, they'll still be around, but we're not raising kids. Like at that point.
I mean, we do mix and travel and all that stuff now too, but it's just
not the way that we want to.
That get up and go kind of more travel, where it's like we could just book it and go whenever we want to.
Or just like a lot of travel out of the country, like going to places, because it's like, when you have kids in school, it's hard to just be like, I'm going to leave for a week or 10 days or whatever. So I'm looking forward to that part of life, like what that will be like too.
Yeah, for sure. But that's kind of been what it's been like. Just a quick update on how we've been doing. But yeah, I mean, we'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you guys for watching.